Hi, and welcome back to The Productive Entrepreneur, helping you get organized, get productive, and make more profit. In this lecture, we're going to be talking about time management. So I'm going to discuss some of my top time management tips and skills that I've acquired over the years from my experience as an entrepreneur, running a business, running a team of software developers and business salespeople, and also from what I've picked up from different time management books and productivity books. So we kick off this lecture with a quote from William Penn that says, "Time is what we want most, but what we use worst." And that is very true. You can never get more time. You can always have more money, but you can never get more time. You can make more money, but you can never make more time. So most people think that time management is about arriving for work on time or leaving on time. But for those of us who want to be truly productive and successful, time management is a skill which is to be learned and then improved upon. These skills are about managing time that you have so that it's not wasted, and that for every one of the 1,440 minutes that you get in a day, you can look back and say, I didn't waste a single one. In this lecture, I'm going to outline some of my top time management skills. I won't expect everybody to agree with these skills, and if not, please, you're more than welcome to leave a comment in the discussion section, and I can get back to you and we can discuss what you think should go into this lecture. We start with the big one, time management. So for me, time management is like financial management. And the first thing you do when getting a handle on your finances is that you start to track every penny so you know where it's being spent. And it's the exact same with time management. You need to know where your time is being spent and if it's being spent wastefully or productively. And to help me know where I've been spending my time, I use a tool called Recordkeeping. So you can go to their website and download it. There's a free version and there's a premium version. I use the free version. So rescuetime.com. I'll include a link to it in the resources section. So when I first installed Recordkeeping, I set myself 2 goals. Spend more than 4 hours per day on work projects and spend less than one hour per day on distractions. And by distractions, I mean reading the news, Facebook for personal use, checking Twitter, for example. Things like that. Things that everybody has different distractions. Some people might use Twitter and Facebook for work, but for me, I don't, so they are distractions. So when you first set up Recordkeeping, it asks you to categorize some items. For example, my CRM system is categorized as productive and Facebook is categorized as distracting. So you can go through the list that Recordkeeping gives you, all the websites that you've been visiting and spending time on, and then label them as productive or distracting. And then at the end of the week, you'll know exactly where your time is going. And also what I love about Recordkeeping is that I can see exactly where I've been spending my time, and I can tell immediately by looking at their charts and graphs if I've been spending too much time on distracting activities, and I know what to cut out. So for example, again, if I'm spending too much time on Facebook, I know that I need to download a little tool that will block Facebook when I'm trying to be focused and get something done. So like I said, there's a free version and a premium version, and it's up to you which one to choose. I use the free version, and the premium version offers tools such as blocking websites such as Facebook, which you might find too distracting. If you can't install Recordkeeping, then good old-fashioned pen and paper will work just as well. I used to use this method, and every morning I would open my diary, make a note of the task I had just completed and how long it took to complete. I would do this if I was on Facebook or writing a business proposal. Then at the end of each day or week, I would go through my diary and see where my time had been spent and where I could spend it better. My next tip has to do with planning and goals. Now that you know where your time is being spent, you need to plan out your day so that you can make the most of the time that you do have. This is one of my absolute must-do tasks every evening. There's no point in sitting down at your desk and spending an hour or two trying to figure out what you should be doing that day. I start on Sunday evening and I write down everything that I would like to get done for the next day. Not everything that I will get done, but everything that I would like to get done. So this is not a to-do list, it is a like to-do list. And also, now's a good time for me to say something that you will hear me repeatedly say throughout this course. You must accept that you cannot do everything. So there will be times when you can't get everything on your list done. So last Sunday, my to-do list for Monday morning was 45 items long. After I'd written them all down, I picked my top 3 for the next day and highlighted them. I know that if I get those 3 done, everything else after that is a bonus. And how do I put that list together? Well, it's actually very simple. If you're following along with previous lectures, you'll know that I set up both my physical and digital inbox. To create my to-do list, I go through what I have filed under actions and I add it to my list. It's as simple as that. As I create my to-do list, I find that some tasks will rely on getting others done first, and that's okay. Simply mark those as your first priority. After I've completed the task, I make sure to put a big green tick mark beside it because that makes me feel good and like I'm moving through my list. Planning your day is essential to being productive. There is no point in getting up in the morning and, as I said, spending 2 hours trying to figure out what needs to be done. Instead, if you plan the night before, you can hit the ground running the next day. Also, clears up your mind and help you sleep a little bit better. Another advantage to doing this is for those days when you just can't get motivated. When you find yourself sitting at your computer with zero motivation, and believe you me, it happens to us all, so don't worry about it and don't be too hard on yourself when you have those days. But what you can do is turn to your to-do list and start knocking them off one at a time. Just take the first one, get through it, then the next one and the next one, and you'll find that your motivation, without you even really trying, just working on your to-do list, starts to build. A to-do list is one of your most fundamental weapons in your battle to become more productive. In a later lecture, I'll tell you how I've evolved my to-do list into my calendar system so that I keep everything in the one place. My next tip is agendas. When I say agendas, what do I mean? I'm talking about lists for my calls and my meetings. So for example, if I have a call with my lawyer or somebody that I'm doing business with, 15 minutes before the call, I will bullet point all the questions that I want to ask, everything that I want to know, and everything that I want to get done on the call. So this way, when I'm finished the call, I'm confident that I've asked everything I need to. So for example, last week I had a call with my solicitor or with my lawyer, and I had 5 or 6 items just tick boxed on a piece of paper. And as we were discussing, I just went through each item on the list and ticked them off as I asked the question. It saves both my time and the other person's time, as I don't have to repeatedly go back with follow-up questions, follow-up phone calls or emails. Another advantage to doing this is that your agenda list will save you an enormous amount of time and most likely money, as some professions charge per call or per hour. My next tip is to accept what you don't know. No matter how well you plan your day, things will happen. The server will crash, a colleague will call in sick, your new client will want to revise the deadline. Whatever it is, you need to realise that even the perfect plan cannot survive contact with the unknown. And that's okay. There will be days when you won't get everything from your list done. You may not even get a single thing from it done, and that's okay. You need to make a commitment to yourself right now that when things get in the way, you can let them go, and when necessary, forgive yourself. Spending 20 minutes in the toilet chastising yourself will not make you more productive. Instead, take a deep breath and know that it's okay when something unexpected happens. Time management is not just a set of tools which you can use to instantly make you more productive. Instead, it is a set of acquired skills which you can develop. Forgiveness and patience are part of your skill set. My next time management tip is to take some time for yourself. Have you ever wished that you could take the Do Not Disturb sign home from a hotel room and use it when things get tough? I have more than once. As I said previously, time management is not just about tools to employ, it's also about developing the right mental skills. Another one of those skills is being able to take some time for yourself. One great tip for this is to enter some personal time in your calendar. I have a shared office calendar with my team so that they always know where I am or who I am meeting with. Occasionally, I'll add in a general out of the office meeting and use that for time for myself. It could be as simple as sitting in a coffee shop, relaxing or reading a book. It doesn't matter. What matters is that every now and again you take some time for yourself. Another great way to take some time for yourself is to meditate, and I meditate every morning. I use an app called Headspace, which I get more into to a later lecture, so I won't go into it now, but you might want to start looking into it now. Delegation is another great time management and productivity skill. When you're working for yourself as part of a team, you might be thinking, what's the point in delegating as it's just me and the other guy over there? I used to think like this until one day I passed a task over to a colleague and something completely unexpected happened. The task got done. I updated the client and everybody was happy. Delegating is not about telling people what to do, nor is it about losing control. It's about trust. Passing a task to someone else does not mean that you cannot do it. Rather, it means that you have chosen not to do it. And that's the distinction that you have to make to yourself. As the owner of a small business or leader of a team, you have more important things to be doing. Do you really need to be the one that's creating a spreadsheet of names to cold call to try and get the next sale? No. Rather, you should be the one making the calls and getting the sales. Let someone else do the things that someone else can do, and free up your time to start concentrating on the things that will increase your revenue, your turnover, and help your business grow. Now, many people are nervous about handing tasks over to someone else, and understandably so. They've been on their own for so long that they don't trust anyone to get things done other than themselves. Some people just feel like they have to do it themselves for it to be done right. But you cannot grow with this attitude. And believe you me, things will start to fall through the cracks. And before you know it, rather than growing your business, you are fighting to save it. So start small, pick a non-critical task and delegate it. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with the results. My next time management skill is record keeping and organization. Now for me, this is a biggie because I am terrible at record keeping. I lose everything. If I have a meeting with a client in a coffee shop, I lose the receipt for my expenses. Every year, I dread doing my end of year accounts. Where's the receipt for the client dinner last June? I have no idea. Where's the receipt for the piece of software that you purchased last week? I have no idea. So record keeping and organization is key. A clean desk means you can be more productive. A clean mind means you have more time to focus on what really matters. So keeping everything in a place where you know where it'll be will free your mind up for more important tasks. I mean, when you think about it, do you really need to be wondering where you put this month's rent invoice when you should be focused on the client presentation that you have tomorrow? No, absolutely not. To help with this skill, I would recommend you start by reading Getting Things Done by David Allen. I've included a link to it in our resources. Now, it's a long read, so you'll have to stick with it. But if you don't have time to read it, then one of the most important things that you can do is this. Create an outside brain. And I have several ways of doing this. On my desk, I have a very simple in tray. Into it, I put receipts, invoices, post-its, and anything else non-critical, but that will need to be filed away, or I'll need to remember at some stage. At the end of every week, I go through it, process what needs to be done, and then file it away. Sometimes things have become obsolete, so I throw them out. Another way I keep a record of everything is my notebook. I carry a notebook everywhere, no matter what. Any thought, idea, call to return, or to-do goes into it. This way I can flick through it and then process what needs to be done. And finally, I use Evernote for all things digital that need to be recorded. I have Evernote set up as if it were a real filing cabinet. Notebooks from A to Z, and then I simply drop the digital files into them. Whenever I need to find something, all I have to do is type in the name and up it pops. I also tag everything for easier reference. When you have your offline and online filing system set up, you can start to implement the philosophy of one touch only. Everything that you receive, either physically or digitally, should only ever need to be touched by you once. Just got emailed an invoice in from a supplier, file it under the correct letter in Evernote, and set a reminder when it's due to be paid. And that's it. Setting up these processes correctly will free up your mind and time to focus on more important tasks. Next, I'd like to talk about time goals. So although the title of this lecture is Time Management, managing time is not completely possible. You can only manage how you use your time. There are 1,440 minutes in every day. And in his book, 15 Secrets Successful People Know About Time Management, Kevin Kruse tells us that it's how you spend those 1,440 minutes that count. So the skills of time management are the skills that you need to use your time effectively. How do you decide to use your time? The answer lies in your goals. When setting goals, start and work backwards. This course is not just about telling you how to become more productive, it's also about giving you the benefit of my experience. In the past, one of the biggest mistakes I have made when setting goals is not telling people about them. And by people I mean your partner, your parents, or your friends. If you don't tell people what you are doing and why, then how can you expect them to understand, to help, and to give you the time when you need it most? As Elon Musk has said, people work better when they know the goal and the why. So start telling people in your life what you're up to. Trust me, it will make things a lot easier. Next, we're going to talk about one of the biggest productivity tips that can start to save you time right now. If you read any time management or productivity book, eventually you will come across the line that says, say no more often. And the reason this tip is mentioned so many times is because it is one of the most powerful tools to becoming more productive. Not only that, it is also one of the quickest and easiest things that you can do right now to instantly increase your productivity. Think about it. For every yes you give, it's a no to something else. So before you say yes, take a breath, consider what you are saying yes to, and then consider whether or not you should say no. Saying no frees you up for what tasks matter, and believe you me, it is far better to say no than giving a yes when you don't mean it or when you have doubts. Saying no frees you up from other people's expectations, because when you say yes, it is never something that is important to you. For a long time, I've been unable to say no, instead saying yes to almost everything. My friends and colleagues would call me the yes man. To me, this seemed like a good thing. I kept people happy and got stuff done, but it's a house of cards that you cannot keep building on. Eventually you will have a packed calendar, impossible deadlines and burnout. Although by saying yes I might have temporarily kept people happy, in the end it all came crashing down and I had to say no and let people down. So again, before you say yes, take a breath and consider what you are saying yes to. Give no a try, you'll be pleasantly surprised. And finally, we'll talk about your priorities. For me, my priorities are linked to my goals. My goals are broken down by day, by week, by month, by quarter, 6 months and yearly. So every day I ask myself, what do I need to do today that will help me complete my daily goal? And whatever the answer to that question is, that's my priority for the day. My priorities are what move my goals forward. I usually try and keep my number of priorities below 1 to 3 per day. So they are my top time management tips. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask me, which you can do so in the discussion section. I'd also love to hear what you consider your top time management tips.